Well, good Monday morning here in DFW, Texas. 108 degrees is what it's going to be. It was 109 yesterday. So good thing we built a ballpark. I was at the Texas Rangers yesterday where they won against the Angels. And I will tell you, I was not going to be there if we did not have air conditioning because I don't go to those games where we used to have an open field. So super excited that you're here. If you're on YouTube for the very first time, or if you're in the Facebook group, make sure you put a comment section. Tell me where you're from and what you do, because we have inspectors, we have lenders, we have title, we have real estate professionals that watch this call. And if you're in the membership site on the back end, make sure that you click the links that are the reason why you're there, so you get the special stuff, the special sauce at the end of the call. But I'm super excited about this one. This is week 4 of a 22-week session that we're doing all the way to the end of the year. And so I want to make sure that a couple things, a little bit of housekeeping, then we'll get going. Because I know on YouTube, they don't like it when I ramble at the first of this. They want us to get to the actual content, which I understand. So number one, little house clean. We're on week 4. However, if you have not watched the previous weeks, go back later. These are independent trainings, so you can just take this training and apply it. But you'll see kind of the method that we're running through. We're building the foundations for your business. Now, if you're watching this and you're a producing agent, or you're an inspector with multi-inspectors, or you're a lender and you're the number one lender in your market, all that's awesome. And thank you so much for watching. I will tell you that you may already have some of these foundations built, but I can almost guarantee you that there's going to be something you hear in this call that maybe gets you to think, or maybe say, hey, this is an area where I need to be able to focus a little bit. Okay, is that fair enough? So if you get anything out of this, make sure you share this with your peers. And if you are an inspector or a title person, or you're in one of our Hero Edge communities, which is in Tyler, Virginia, DFW, Houston, San Antonio, make sure you send this out to the agents that you market to if you're a vendor, because I want to be able to be their resource at no cost to them. That's what this call's about. It's not going to be one of those calls where I'm going to throw a pitch at you or tell you that you need, specialized one-on-one training or anything like that. This comes free coaching. Take it, leave it. I promise you this, you should get something out of it though, if you really want to. So what are we talking about today? Today, we're talking about, like I said, week 4, and we're talking about how do you actually start to separate yourself from the masses. So I want you to picture yourself for a second. I want you to picture yourself or somebody else that's standing in a busy road, 4 lanes, right? So we all have, if you live in a major city, you have one of those highways, it's got 4 lanes across it. And if that person is standing in front of all those cars that are coming towards them, and they're just saying, hey, stop, I need you. Hey, I can sell to you. Hey, I can sell to you, right? And everybody's just swerving beside them, trying to miss them, all this stuff. And all of a sudden, boom, someone finally gets hit. He finally gets hit by somebody that he can help, just by pure accident. That is what I have found coaching thousands of hours and thousands of agents over the past 12 years. That is what I have found most business owners, specifically realtors, how they actually build their business. They're just waving to everybody, saying, hey, I can help. I help everyone. And it's when someone runs into them, they think, oh, I finally figured it out. But the reality is all you figured out is how to get hit. And it's always good when that happens, because usually it's right at the moment when you're thinking about quitting, or maybe you're brand new and you think this job is easy now. But building a business is never easy. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in specifically. It doesn't matter what part of the real estate industry that you're in too. You have to build a business around specific foundations if you want a sustainable business that serves you and your clients over time. So I want to dive into a little bit about how we actually do that. I gave you a tool in the link, whether I think it's in every link that if you're watching, and it's an analysis tool of how to actually find the lane that you need to be in. Because I don't know about you, but in Texas, my wife complains a lot because she complains about how aggressive I drive. But the funny thing is, and now going on 40 years of her sitting in the passenger seat, she's yet to have, knock on wood, an accident or hardly any tickets in those 40 years while I've been driving. But I do drive aggressively. I drive it offensively so that I don't get hit, which sometimes means that I move around cars every once in a while, but it's with purpose, right? But in Texas, they have what they call the left lane. Pretty much every state has this, but you'll see people driving in the lane going at the speed limit or under the speed limit with no awareness that they have cars all behind them, right? And it drives people crazy simply because the left lane is meant for passing or people who want to go fast. I mean, I'll say it like that. And if you're one of those, stop it, okay? Because it drives people crazy. And honestly, it will cause more accidents than if you just drove faster. Why do I use that as an analogy? Because a lot of business owners have no situational awareness of where their business comes from. They have no situational awareness of where their niche is, their market, their lane. And today I want to walk you through a scenario. I want to walk you through an exercise that maybe you can start doing that, because as we move through this series, we're going to build these foundations and then you're going to apply them. And by the end of 2026, your 2027 year will be completely set up, business plan, foundations, where you're going, how you're going to get leads, how you're going to convert the leads, how you're going to close the leads, and you will have the best year you've ever had. And if you're brand new, you'll have the best year as the first year, which is awesome. Okay, so I want to go through this. Last week I told you guys something that made a few people mad. I actually got a couple comments, and it was good. I wanted people to think about it. But what I said was, you don't have a business problem, because most of us think it's the market. Most of us think it's the area we're in. And most of us think it's the interest rate, whatever it is. But it's not that, because I guarantee, I challenge you to go into your statistics, because everybody can get to the statistics, and you actually look at your statistics in your market. And yes, you may be down a little bit, or you may be up a little bit. However, the market is still being sold. Houses are still being sold. Their transactions are still happening. So it's not a business problem. It's a foundation problem. And what I mean by that is, you are wearing these business excuses as a costume. You're actually looking at your business and trying to find why it's not working, instead of looking at your business and figuring out how to make it work. And there's a distinct difference in approaching your business in those two scenarios, because I can guarantee you will always find what you're looking for. You want to write that down. I promise you will always find what you're looking for. If you think that the market is the reason, you will find every bit of evidence to tell you that you're right. But if you think that the market is not the reason, and that the reason is you're not looking in the right spot, and so you go out looking, you're probably going to find what you're looking for. You're going to find where the market is actually moving. Because literally, I had a client last week, a real estate client, and we were talking about the market. And in one part of town, at one price point, the market was sitting 60 to 75 days on market. And this was not the highest price point. It was actually in the middle. The lower market and the above in our market, in the market I live in, most of the luxury homes are going to be million plus. I know if you're in Southern California, million's it's like a shanty, right? But here in DFW, $1 million will get you quite a bit of house, and 2-3 million will get you a lot of house. But those were moving. Those were actually moving. And then things that were below 500,000 are moving. But that $500,000 to $800,000 market, kind of stagnant right now. Kind of where you're really having to market, you're really having to make sure the price is on point. Why do I tell you that? Because if you don't do that research and you don't always try to figure out where the lane is that you need to be in, you're going to struggle consistently with finding where the business is happening, because the business is happening. It just may not be happening where you're looking. So if I would encourage you as a coach, I encourage you as your mentor, whatever you want to call me, or just a real estate dude, I would encourage you to quit looking at where you're at or where the market isn't, and start looking at where it is. Because I will promise you this, I've yet to coach or talk to anybody where there's no homes being sold in their area. I don't care where it is. Now, if you're in rural USA, maybe, if you have a population of 500, maybe. But the reality is if you are in a market where houses are being bought and sold, and you're not partaking in that, you're not participating in the event, probably means that you're looking in the wrong spot. You're in the wrong lane. Okay, so here's the statement that I hear that comes from scarcity. Okay, so you can come from abundance or you can come from scarcity, but I will tell you this is where most agents start, and let's make sure that we are not there. Okay, and if you are there, I'm going to try to get you off of this statement. And the statement is, I work with everybody. Okay, I work with everybody. That sounds like it's good. It's like saying I'm a great multitasker. That sounds good. It sounds like it's almost heroic. But here's what I will tell you. In the world of marketing, it means that you actually don't get heard by anybody. I want that to land. If you say and you market that I work with everybody, you're not actually being heard by anybody. Because in the market that we live in, especially social media, but I would say any market, it's the reason why certain commercials hit, even back in the 50s, certain commercials hit certain TV shows and certain commercials hit other TV shows because they were trying to find their lane. And when we get into this business, most of us don't have experience in high level marketing and marketing agencies and things like that. So we just think it's smart for us to just yell at the mountaintop that we are a realtor and that we can help anybody. But what that actually does is it makes you not be heard by anybody, because it's like the wind. We have so much noise going around us that people can't hear you because it's not breaking through the noise. You got to break through the noise. When you say I work with everybody, that is extremely vague and it will not land with anybody, simply because if you know anything about the algorithms, my Facebook page doesn't look like your Facebook page, which doesn't look like your spouse's Facebook page, which doesn't look like your kids, because it's all tailored to the person and their likes and dislikes and who they are and where they live and all the things, the clicks, all that stuff. That's how algorithms work. And there's a reason why it works that way, because it's effective. And so when you're looking at your marketing, you got to get very, very specific about how you actually target the people that you want to work with. So we're going to go through an exercise in a second. I'm going to read it out. Again, there's a link in the bio or the comment section where you can download this, and it's actually practical that you can actually do it, because on Thursday, we're going to talk a little bit more about it and how you can automate it. And then Friday, if you're on the mastermind call, if you're part of that community, you can get in, you can actually see us role play it. Okay. So number two, if you talk to everyone, your referrals start to dry up, because no one wants to send somebody to a generalist. Like, if you say, I just work with everybody, and hey, you had a good experience, make sure you refer me. And it's like, hey, I got this realtor. It's my whole premise of my book and how I'm introduced in front of people. I don't want to be a Kevin Harris. I want to be the Kevin Harris. I want to be, when people think of Kevin Harris, they think of me. Okay. So I have to work with marketing myself in a way that actually resonates with people. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. That's okay. I'm not here to help everybody. I'm not here to save everybody. I'm not here to coach everybody. I'm here to help the people that are attracted to me, and that they hear the message and they actually take action on it. Okay. Because what I talk about, honestly, is not something that is groundbreaking necessarily. There are some nuggets in there every once in a while, but truth is truth. And when you're talking about business is very simple. It's just not easy. It's very simple, though. There's very simple foundational things that you have to do in every business for it to be successful. Now, how you go from that to Elon Musk successful, that's a different story. But I'm trying to get people just to become successful. Like, they just have a business where they can feed their families and put money in the bank and go on the trips that they want to, not buy the Lambos and all that kind of stuff. Hey, you can do that, but you got to build a base first. You got to have a foundational business before you can scale that business. Number three, if you talk to everyone, you also compete on price. When you go to a doctor, for the most part, especially if you don't have a doctor, you move to a new city, you're going to look for, if you're a cash pay person, you're going to look for, because I run my own business, so most of the time I'm cash pay. You're going to look for people who give you discounts. You're going to look for people who don't cost as much. for a generalist, like if you're just having a checkup, if you're doing things. But when you need like major surgery or you got something wrong with you, man, you want the best. And the best isn't someone you just pick up the phone and call from Etsy, or not from Etsy, from Yelp. It's a referral that someone says, oh, you got to use this person. Oh, I had this experience and this person was awesome. Oh, this person's the best in Dallas, the best in Fort Worth. Oh, let me tell you. And my wife just had surgery on her foot, and she used, like, I think it's like the second best person for orthopedics in the nation. That matters. And by the way, that's one of the reasons why she was picked, was because of her expertise in that one very small area of orthopedics, which was the foot and things like that. Why do I say that? Because I want you guys to start thinking about how you actually do that in your business. How do you actually become the home inspector, the realtor of choice for whatever it is, the title person, the lender, okay? Because when you start marketing that way, you're going to start, you think you're going to lose business, but what's going to happen is you're going to start niching down so much that you become the person that everybody thinks about in that niche. Okay. Here's the other reason why. Because it's just math. Okay. It's really just math. I don't know about you, but in DFW, there's about 40 to 50,000 agents at any one time in the market, depending on the market. And if someone says, I need an agent, that most people, especially if they're not in the real estate world, they kind of think every agent's the same. And I would argue vast majority, that's correct. They kind of do the same thing. Like when they list a house, I always say the 3 P's of real estate. They put a sign in the yard, they put it on the MLS, then they pray that it sells. That's their marketing campaign. But there are things that you can do if you become a specialist in listings, from marketing, from communication, from expectations, from pricing, from open house, neighborhood marketing, all that kind of stuff that gets more eyeballs on that property than the ones who don't do it. Why do I say that? Because if you want to become the listing specialist, you got to get good at that. And then you got to tell people that's what you do. You got to market in a way that when someone thinks I need to list my house, I need to use this person. I need to use the listing specialist. So how do you do that? I'm going to give you an acronym, LANE, L-A-N-E. You can write it down. Again, if you download that document, it's going to have it in there. So number 1, LANE. In LANE, L, look back. So go back and look at your past transactions. I would say if you have 20 transactions in the past 24 months, 24 to 36 months, hopefully you do. If not, get with me and I promise you I'll help you do that. But look at your last 20, write them down, get 4 columns and put L-A-N-E, okay? And then write all your transactions down. Here's what I want you to write. I want you to write how much it was, okay? And in that tool, there's going to be like a grading method on these last 20 transactions that you'll go through, kind of like we did last week on your leaking, on where your business is leaking. But it's a grading method on those transactions. Like, did you make a lot of money on it? Like personally, what was the price point? How much pressure was there? How did it feel to work with this particular group of person? I got a story in a second, I'll tell you. But just create that 20 transactions. A in LANE, ask who lit you up. Like when you look back on those 20 transactions, highlight, circle, which are the ones that you actually go, man, that was awesome. Like I helped somebody, like I've helped several of my football players when I was a football coach. They're now in their late 20s to mid 30s. And so I've helped several of them buy their first home. And sometimes some of them sell their home and buy another one. Man, that lights me up because I've known these characters since they were like 12, 13 years old. And so when I get to see that progress in their life, man, I'd love to do that every day, all day. Now, that's not the most of them are not the highest price, right? But it gives me joy. And it's like almost like it's not work because I get to hang out with people that, they still call me coach. So I like that LANE because of what it does to me, not necessarily financially, but personally. Okay. So what lights you up? And then N is name it out loud. I'm going to write this sentence down. I help blank, do blank, in blank. Okay. And so that's on that worksheet that I have. And what it is you need to specifically say out loud who you help. I help first-time home buyers buy their first home with little hassle, with down payment assistance, with a great experience. Because you need whatever it is that you write down. That's how you're going to start marketing. You're going to start marketing around the actual sentence that you say out loud, not that you keep inside, not that you write. I always say this: quit. If this is you, stop. Quit being a secret agent. It's good for the CIA. It's terrible for real estate agents. You can't be a secret agent. You got to be talking out loud. I literally, no exaggeration, I went to the game yesterday, and just through conversation at the bar while I was waiting to go inside, I got a buyer lead. And I didn't bring it up. But because I'm actively talking and I'm actively having conversations with people, inevitably those conversations lead to, well, what do you do for a living? I asked that, and he's like, he said something about people not responding. And I said, yeah, I get that all the time in real estate. And he's like, oh, you're in real estate? And I said, yeah, that's what I do. Very similar to what you do. You have weird clients. And we just had that conversation. He's like, man, me and my wife are looking for a house and we need to move before the end of the year. Now, if I wouldn't have had that conversation, if I wouldn't have stepped up into that piece of text, verbal text, I would have never been able to meet that person. Great guy, right? And we're gonna hook up, and I've already sent him a text. He's already sent it back. It's great. That's our business. But you got to constantly be figuring out who you're helping, and then have that conversation over and over and over again. And then last, so L is look back, A is ask what lights you up, N is name it out loud, and E is earn it in public, which means for the next 30 days, every marketing piece, every conversation, every thought that you have should be around that statement that you wrote. Because you can't say something once and expect the public to be able to echo it back to you. People, when people put me on stage, okay, when I get in front of people, a lot of times what happens, I would say the majority of times, they're like, well, let's welcome the Kevin Harris. Now, I don't consider myself better than, matter of fact, there's a lot of flaws I got, okay? But I started marketing years ago because I talk about uniqueness. And so we're going to talk about Wednesday when I'm at an event in Arlington. And we're going to talk about your uniqueness, a lot of what we're talking about now, okay? And I just said, you don't want to be you want to be the. And so I just started marketing myself as the Kevin Harris. And you know what happened? Over the course of about 2 months, people started echoing that back to me. If you you can find me anywhere on social media, and it's all the Kevin Harris or the Kevin Harris 1. And it's echoed back to me because I'm constantly marketing. I don't say it out loud. I don't introduce myself as the Kevin Harris, but they do. I want that to sink in for a second, because it has nothing to do with ego. It has nothing to do with anything other than you have to let the market know who you help specifically, what you want to be known for specifically. And if you don't, you're always going to struggle with how you actually get business and how to connect with people and how to actually have a conversation. Because here's what I know. First-time homebuyer conversation is different than a luxury conversation, which is different than a downsizing conversation, which is different than a FSBO conversation. And you've got to get specific on what conversations you want to have so you can deep dive into the pain points and how you actually go about helping them. If that makes sense, put thumbs up or yes in the chat, because I want to make sure that the people that get this message, that watch this either on the record or live, that you actually see that to be the person, to be the agent, the title person, the lender, the marketing rep, whatever it is, to be the person that you actually are thinking in your head you want to be, your hero story for your business. You got to start finding the clients who resonate, and it's not everyone. It's not everyone. I had someone, same exact conversation like yesterday. I had someone that picked somebody else other than me. And when he told me why, his wife, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, I don't take offense to that. I take offense if I marketed to them and they said they were going to use me and then they didn't use me. But the reality is I don't get offended when people don't use me, simply because I don't want to work with everybody. I'm not looking for everybody. I'm looking for my 3 or 4 a month, 5 a month, 10 a month, whatever the number is. So here's the story. The story is, see what time we got. The story is this. I helped somebody buy and sell a home. So they sell a home and then they bought a home. And it was I'll just say it was a high engineer minded person. I won't disclose who it was. I'm not that person. Like let's go have a beer at the end of the day, talk about the events, talk about the open house, all that kind of stuff. I like to lay back a little bit. Now I'm high fiduciary to my clients and I make sure that everybody gets across the finish line, high five and chest bumping, thinking this was a great ride. It was awesome. But this particular person is more of an engineer and he wanted data and he wanted all these stats and he wanted all these updates every day. About killed me. Here's the caveat. It was one of the most expensive transactions for both sides that I'd ever gone through at that moment. It was, I won't tell you the number, but it was multiple seven figures. Okay. So it was a high value client and we got him to cross the finish line and got him through the closing on both deals. And he actually apologized. His wife made him apologize to me because he was such a jerk. I won't tell you what he actually said, but he admitted that he acted in a way that was not consumer friendly, I guess would be the way of saying it. Why do I say that? Because I knew at that moment, no matter how much that was worth, I would help anybody, but I'm not going to market to anybody. I'm going to market to specific people because I don't want a ton of those deals in my life because it stressed me out. And so I started marketing in a lane that I felt that I was really comfortable in, that had a good price point, that I could help people, I could really serve their needs. And within 2 years, 30% of my business came from that one lane that I just talked to all the time when I was doing videos, when I was doing open houses. I was trying to find this one person who resonated with my conversation. So I would encourage you to do the same thing. Get out the workbook or the worksheet that I have in there. Start doing it because on Thursday, I'm going to send a video out on Thursday that's going to show you how to automate it, whether it's your system or the system we use, the Beacon. And how you automate a lot of this so that you don't have to be thinking about it all the time. But once you think about it once, then it's done. And then it's just putting people in your pipeline and letting the automation and the AI do the work. Then on Friday, we're going to actually break it down and actually talk specifically about how you do the action plans for the next week. Here's what I want to land with. Somebody in your town is typing exactly what you do best in the search bar this week. But if you're not optimized in your social media, in your conversations, in your open houses, in your SEO, all the things, if you're not optimized for that, you're not showing up. It's a person that you should be helping. It's a person that you resonate with. It's the person that is looking for you, but they can't find you. I can't tell you how many times that I've gone into realtors' feeds when they've joined my group and I'm trying to verify whether they're a realtor or not. I go to their Facebook feed. I can't even determine just looking at their Facebook feed whether they're a realtor or not. That's crazy to me. In the world we live in, I should be able to see that you're a realtor and you help people in the real estate industry, regardless of whether you're a realtor or an inspector. I should be able to see that everywhere because that's free marketing that we don't have to pay for. And it takes one time of putting stuff in there for me to be able to go, oh, that's the person. I've seen realtors who don't even have their own picture in the profile. It's crazy to me. Okay. We do business with people we recognize and we trust. We do it. Why would we not expect our clients to do it? So my encouragement to you is to go in this week and start working on who are you trying to attract. But if you don't know, you're never going to attract anybody. So do the work this week. We're going to work through it. We got an action plan on Friday. If you're part of the group, if you want to be part of the group after this call, all the links will be in there. The mastermind group. If you're in one of the Hero Edge communities, it's free to be in that group in a viewing mode. And if you want to know more about that, what it looks like from a marketing platform and things like that, just DM me, put it in the comment section. I'll make sure I get back with you. You can email me if you've got my email. But here's what I want to say. Get in a lane, get specific, and get found. Get in a lane, get specific, and get found. Because when you start doing that, you'll see your business take off. And the great thing about what we do for a living is you don't have to stay in that lane. And maybe if you even pick the wrong lane, do it for 90 days, because I say we're in 90-day cycles. Do it for 90 days. You're going to get a result. May not be the results you want, and then you can choose to change lanes. But until you commit to at least 90 days of activities and conversation and marketing, Like every marketing piece for the next 90 days is going to be directed towards this particular group, first-time home buyers, demographic, parts of town, whatever it is you choose to do. When you do that for 90 days, I promise you this, you're going to start getting noticed. You're going to start getting conversations started. You're probably going to start getting leads. And I would almost guarantee you're going to start getting deals in the pipeline. So that's my encouragement. Get in a lane, get specific, and get found. And with that, I was supposed to bring somebody on, but it looks like we had a little technical difficulty. So I'll make sure that we get a video out for you guys. You guys be blessed. Have a great August week. If you're in the South, I'll tell you this, the cool is coming. I was a football coach for 12 years. I promise the cool is coming. This year just happens to be coming a little bit later than normal, but I promise it's coming. September's on its way, which means winter is coming eventually, whatever winter means in Texas. You guys be blessed. Peace and love. Go be the hero in your own story, because heroes are built. They are not born. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.